Hello everyone, this is Neha Sharma. Today in this video, we are going to start chapter number 1 from our textbook Flamingo. The name of the story is The Last Lesson. And in this story, we will learn that what is the importance of our language and our nation to us. So, let's see what is the story. In this video, I am going to give you the introduction only of the chapter, and in detail we will read this chapter in the next video. So please listen the introduction of this the last lesson carefully. The last lesson, chapter number 1. Let's know about the author. Author is Alphonse Daudet, who was a French novelist and a short story writer. When we talk about the story, this story was set in the Franco-Prussian, or you may say Franco-German war in 1870s, and when France was defeated by Prussian under Bismarck. French district of Alaska and Lorraine were passed into Prussian hands. So what was the result of that? What were the consequences of that annexure? We have to read that. So the theme of the story, as I told you, that one must know how much their language, the mother tongue, is important for them. So this we will learn here. The theme of the chapter is linguistic chauvinism. That means strong and unreasonable belief that one's country and language is the best and the important, and it should be to be a patriotic and to show the preciousness, to know the preciousness of one's language. This should be there actually in one's blood, the respect for the mother tongue. Now, if we talk about the main characters of the story, so the main character, we have two main characters in this story. Number 1 is M. Hamel, who was French teacher in the districts of Alaska and Lorraine. And the second one is the boy whose name, he was a schoolboy and his name was French. Actually, French is the narrator of the story. Let's talk about the characters, means the main characters of the story, The Last Lesson. So as I told you, the main characters are M. Hamel, who is a French teacher, and second one is a schoolboy whose name is French. So let's know about M. Hamel. He was a French teacher of the district, one of the districts of Alaska and Lorraine. He was teaching there for 40 years. And he was very good teacher, but he was little bit strict also. So he uses his rulers on the students, and he transformed when he heard that order from Berlin that from now onwards German would be taught in the districts of Alaska and Lorraine. So he was transformed after that. He declared that day in his classroom that it is going to be his last lesson, and he was the lover of the mother tongue, that was French, and he was highly respected by the villagers and the students, right? And towards the end of his last lesson, he could not speak much. He got emotional, he choked actually, and he wrote on the blackboard, Vive la French, means long live French. When we talk about French, who was a little schoolboy, he was a student of that school where M. Hamel was a teacher. He was not very intelligent, not interested in studies, and he liked to hang out. Means he wanted to roam here and there, and he wants to enjoy the nature also. That's why he was actually late for the school that day. Next reason was that he was getting late because he was not prepared for the topic participles. So he was afraid of getting scolded. When he came to know about the last lesson, his view changed and he got his mother tongue seriously. And whatever the teacher M. Hamel was teaching that day, he got everything actually. He listened to the teacher M. Hamel with the utmost attention and the respect. Now let's talk about chapter. You can say the gist of the chapter, that what is story about. So, dear students, this is the story when the French language was disallowed in the schools of the districts of Lascaux and Lorraine. French teachers were asked to leave their schools. The story is narrated by a little student, French. He was late for school that morning and he was also afraid because the teacher M. Hamel was to ask questions on a grammar topic of participle, and French had not prepared at all for that lesson. He didn't know the P of participle. French thought of running away and spending the day out of the doors. He saw Prussian soldiers drilling in the open field. Watching them seemed to him to be more tempting than the rule of participles. He hurried off to school and he somehow went and reached to school. French passed by the town hall in the way. Big crowd he saw in front of the bulletin board, and this bulletin board is the place actually where the people were receiving all kind of news from there. French reached his school. It was as quiet as Sunday morning. Usual hustle and bustle, opening and closing of the desks, repeated sound of lesson was not there. His classmates were already in their seats. M. Hamel was walking up and down in the class, and he went inside the classroom. French was frightened, but nothing happened. Nobody scolded him, not even the teacher. M. Hamel was kindly asked him to go to his place, and he was very surprised that what a miracle it is. French saw that the teacher was in one of his best dresses, the one he wore only on the inspection or prize days. The description of the dress which M. Hamel was wearing that day, that I will give you, that is the green coat, frilled shirt, little black silk cap, and he was surprised to see all that. One more surprise was waiting for him when he saw the villagers sitting at the back desks. Everybody looked sad. Then M. Hamel broke the shocking news that all school of French districts would teach German from now onwards, and a new teacher would teach German to them. M. Hamel announced that it's his last lesson in French. For the first time, little French began to feel sorry, not for being serious in his lessons. He was also sad that he would never see M. Hamel again. His books, which had seemed a burden for him, became very dear to him. Now he understood about the best clothes in the presence of the villagers. Villagers were there to thank M. Hamel for his services. M. Hamel asked French to recite the rule for participles. French got mixed up, but M. Hamel didn't scold him. French was feeling very sad at that failure. M. Hamel regretted that the people of Lascaux were indifferent to learning their mother tongue, French. M. Hamel said that even many parents had preferred to send their children to work than to school. He admitted that he was to blame for the poor performance of the students because many times he had given a holiday to students when he wanted to go for fishing. M. Hamel told his students and villagers to respect French and never to forget it. He declared French as the most beautiful, clearest, and the logical language. M. Hamel opened a book and explained a grammar lesson to the students. French was surprised at himself, for he understood the lesson very well. M. Hamel wanted to give them all that he knew. After the grammar, he gave a practice in writing. While students were busy with their writing, M. Hamel sat motionless in his chair and gazed at everything in the little classroom. Church clock struck 12. The sound of the midday prayer were heard. At the same moment, trumpet of the Persian returning from drill were heard. So this was the story which we will learn actually in detail